Hello, welcome to the Gers TV. I'll be joined by Si just in a wee second, where we will be chatting about the Motherwell game at the weekend, obviously after Christmas, and the recent transfer rumours that have came out in the last maybe day or two. How are you, Si?
Aye, all good. Wee bit short of staff tonight, so just trying to multitask. I know they say guys can't multitask, but hello. Welcome to the Gers TV, live from the heart of the great British Empire. It's almost Christmas, and win, lose or draw, we're always happy. How's things, pal?
Always, I not too bad. I've been working like mad this week, and I'm expecting to be working like mad for the rest of the week. But I always make a bit of time for the Gers TV. It's been
Right, hold on a minute. We're on Instagram here, so we need to be in the middle. No, the dog's still on his floor. Yeah, and then you can see
a bit like this. Then, that's
go.
a wee bit better, right? But not too bad. Not too bad. I'm looking forward to Christmas.
Aye, I'm seeing myself. It's going to be quiet this year. It's like everything else. You're just hoping you can have a good time, get some time with the family, wee time away from everything, and then back to reality, back to the football bit. Aye, it's been no bad weather. It's been a good year. It's all good. Football's not been the best, but to be fair, after the last 6 months, it's not been the worst either. So plenty to talk about tonight. Probably a 45-minute show. If you can help us by sharing and liking, sharing and commenting, that would be a big help for us. We are short tonight, and any help possible would be great. That doesn't include the dog who's trying to knock my coffee off me. Before I start, just a quick mention. I'd like to dedicate tonight's show to Tommy Cochran. Brother Tommy Cochran, Sir Knight. He was the writer for Follow fanzine for many years. You'll remember him as the Major. He was a gentleman, a great Rangers supporter, and a great Orangeman, and a good friend of mine. And he passed away this week. Dedicate the show to him. So it's for Tommy. Right, big story today. Could have changed by the time I get on here. But the story today, Lewis, was that Rangers are looking at going back in for Josh Windass.
Aye, well, it's a bit of a strange one, to be honest. Well, strange in a sense that it was okay for us in days where we weren't so good. Of course, coming back up into the Premiership, he was with Rangers for a 2-3 seasons or so. A player that looked decent in a poor team, I think, for me with Josh Windass, but he's doing well with Wrexham. This season he's our joint. He's the second top goal scorer and he's our top assister, I believe, with 3 assists. He's scored 6 as well this season with Wrexham. He's only just joined there in the summer. Of course, transfer rumours came out today. We might be in for a loan deal.
Aye,
for him.
I mean, I think if I was looking at stats today with the Rangers, I think it was 3 managers, possibly 4. I think it was 3 managers he played under and 35 different players in the squad.
Mm-hmm.
So when he played with us the last time, he was not a bad player. He was never a great player.
Right.
He was not a bad player. I do believe that he's better now and he's still fully fit. He's looked after himself. So all credit to that, and nothing personal when I say this, but I don't think he's the type of player I'd be bringing back. I think it's a slight step backwards. We should be going for a higher grade and a higher level. However, if he did come back, I would give him 100% support. He does know the league. He does know the setup of the club. He knows Scottish football. He knows Rangers. And like I say, he is fit. But I'd like to see and hear people's opinion on this one. If we're going to bring anybody back in that area, for me, it's Joey Aribo all day long, or we move forward to the future. And we'll speak about the players that were linked with in a wee minute.
Mm-hmm.
But the Windass one, I'm probably 60-40 against it. I think Wrexham have came out in the last 10 minutes because we were just setting up there. Lewis was checking for me. But I think that Wrexham have came out and said it might not happen anyway. But as we know, these things can change quite quickly. There's no smoke without fire.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really sure. I don't think he'd be a big. I don't think if you'd done a poll, I don't think it would be for him. I think most people would be against it. Nothing personal. I don't think Andy's got an issue with the guy. I just don't think he's a grade upwards.
Yeah, well, I mean, I would agree with that. I do think it's a step backwards, but he is a player that's thriving in is playing well in a thriving Wrexham team. Is doing well, going up the English leagues, doing well. A big club in modern day football, I think it's fair to say. The last few years, of course, been taken over by.
They've done a lot of social media stuff.
They've been great social media. They've been doing like documentaries and stuff like that on Netflix or Disney Plus, I think it's on. So they're doing well. I think they're 15th in the Championship, which isn't too bad for a team that's no long just been promoted in the league. It was
But-
I believe back to back
To
two
me-
back promotions.
To me, this is a snob that comes in here, but that's way below the kind of level that we should be looking at.
I do agree. I do agree. I think we should be looking at a higher level than 15th in the English Championship. As much as whatever they say, it's the hardest league in the world football. But
I know credit is a good league, and it's one of the
course it is.
most well-faced leagues. I think it's the biggest payout to win that.
it is. It's a bigger payout to win the playoffs in that than what it is to win the Champions League.
I think it's a bigger payoff to go back down as well than it is in Scottish football. Do you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
massive. But the problem I've got with this is if you're going to go down to the level of players that are a wee bit better than what we've got, you're as well getting rid of this Scottish snobbery that we talk about all the time. There's got to be guys in Scottish football that could come in that are a bit younger and do a job like that. I definitely think there is.
Right, well, I mean, I've said this in the show previously. Earlier on in the season, a boy that's doing quite well with Hibs, Kieran Bowie.
Yeah.
A good centre forward as well. Of course, scored a good goal in a European qualifier against Partizan.
It's a great goal, that's right.
It was a great goal. I face near enough his own half, I think it was. If not, it was close enough. So, yeah, I think he's a good young centre forward. I think he's been a bit average the last few weeks. I think Hibs the last few games, but he's still young. He's still a good player.
Traditionally, when Rangers bought players like that, we made them better players.
Of course.
And we bought loads of players for Hibs, Dundee United.
Yeah,
Over
Kevin
the years,
Thompson.
we just put them up that grade higher and they thrived. That's why I think that's the kind of level we should be looking at.
I do agree. I do think we should be looking at Scottish football. And I was actually talking to my taxi driver to work this morning about this. A fellow Rangers man saying that we should be looking at the Scottish leagues, even if we're going on the basis of looking to bring in younger players and maybe loan them out to clubs or whatever like that in the Championship. I do think that's Scotland is the place to look, because Scotland has a lot of good, proper young talent that is very overlooked. I think in British football, I think as well. I think the Scottish leagues are traditionally very overlooked by folk down south as well.
You can't really say this about Windass, to be fair, but most of the players you've got to bring in won't be up to standard with Scottish football. When I say standard,
No.
what I mean is 100 miles an hour, no getting a chance to stop, putting the ball to the park, getting booted to hell out of pissing rain, ice, plastic pitches. There's a lot of conditions and a lot of different environments that players have to come into.
And there's no sort of like settling period that's expected. You're
Aye,
expected
20
to
minutes.
hit the ground running. 20 minutes.
Because the first game, if they come in right away, the first game's all for them.
Yeah.
So,
well, I don't think we can't afford to bring in any sort of project signings. I think there's already enough of them in the door. There's already too many of them in the door. I don't think if we're bringing in.
but there is a link with the Josh Windass thing. Is I believe that Danny Rowe would know who he was.
Yeah, Josh Windass worked under Danny Rowe at Sheffield Wednesday for I believe it was just a season or two.
So he knows him.
Yeah, of course.
He's played with Rangers before. He'll have friends at Rangers.
I think it's a signing that, in that sense, makes sense, but I don't see it happening, and I still don't think that's the level that we should be going for. As much as he's doing well, and I do believe he is a better player than what he was when he was previously at Rangers, I still think we should be aiming higher.
I would say it wouldn't be a bad signing, right? If you brought him in, but he wasn't the main signing in January. He was just a signing, just to booster up the squad a wee bit as we get rid of the crock of shit that's there. Then maybe it wouldn't be too bad, and we're maybe undervaluing the level he's playing at now, to be fair. But let us know what your thoughts are, guys, on this tonight. If you can let us know your opinion, would you go for Windass or would you look for somebody else? And if you think somebody else, who should Rangers be looking for?
I do think, well, when you're talking at the sense of we should be looking higher, yes, I do agree. But at the same time, do you think maybe we should be a bit realistic? Look at where we are in the league. We're third in the league. We're basically out of Europe. We're obviously out of the League Cup. I don't hold out much hope for the Scottish Cup either, and certainly don't hold out much hope for the league. So you've got to think to yourselves, look at where we are. I don't see us being right back up there in a title fight by the end of the season. As much as I would like, I just don't see it happening.
Probably no, but the way I would look at that is the opposite. If you're saying that we need to build for next season, why do we wait till the summer when we can start the project just now? But to be fair with Danny Rowe, it's not his players. He's got to bring in new players. And if we don't bring them in soon, then he'll end up losing his job because the players don't look as if they're going to get much better.
Yeah, well, I think pretty much all Rangers fans know that players have lost managers their jobs too many times in recent years.
on a regular occasion.
On a regular occasion, I do believe it happened under Philippe Clement. As much as you can say after you get beat off at Queen's Park at home, I think it's end game for the manager. But at the same time, it's the players that are going out there and putting these sort of performances
And,
on the pitch.
none of the players got sacked for it.
Exactly. None of the players in it didn't even get any sort of discredit for it or anything like that. But when you look at it like this, I don't see us necessarily going in for the best of the best, because I don't think they'll want to come to Rangers at this time. And it's heartbreaking to say that, because we're one of the biggest clubs in British football, one of the biggest clubs in world football, and it's heartbreaking to say that I don't see many players looking at Rangers being like, I fancy that, because
I was
considering the state of
I
us.
found it interesting to win this one. I'll tell you why. I didn't think we're getting back into that market. I thought we're going to leave the English market.
Yep.
Because it's a hit or miss for us. We have had a few players that have been okay, a couple that have been better than that, but none have been great. I can really think of it. Aribo would be one of them. It was good. Tavernier, whatever anybody thinks him, was a great signing for us.
Yep.
But I'm talking about maybe 4 or 5 out of 20 odds. I'm led to believe, now just saying this from what I've read on social media, that Rangers are going into the Scandinavian market. So, so when that was the case, why we were going for Josh Windass, so I don't really know where it came from.
I believe, I do agree. I thought, maybe going to stop looking at the English market after Kevin Felwell was relieved of his duties at Rangers. And with the Scandinavian market, we're looking at a young, I believe, Norwegian holding midfielder, which makes a bit of sense with Joe Roswell being linked out the door as well. And
that came in the night?
No, that's I think that's been around for a couple of weeks or so. I can't remember his name, but I think it's quite a big one.
Oh, you're talking about the one that was linked last week, sorry. Aye. There was one linked today as well.
Right, okay.
Because I think that's the kind of market that you've got a better chance of getting similar quality, but a better price. Because the price in the English league, it's the richest. The leagues are the richest in the world. So because they're the richest in the world, they're the more expensive to buy the players in. And a lot of these players are just comfortable. They're millionaires, finishing 4th and 5th in the league, winning every couple of months. They're not really caring. They come to Glasgow and they lose or draw a game and all hell breaks loose. Whereas at least you could get the players similar to that at a cheaper rate in Scandinavia. Yeah,
well, there's another young left back that we're linked with as well. Tur Romans from KVC Westerlo.
And that was the one I was thinking about. That came in the day.
Yeah, that's not long came in as well. That came in only really a few hours ago. The rumours of him joining, he's at Westerlo this season. He's 22 years old. He'd made I believe 21 or 22 appearances at Belgian youth level with the under 17s, under 18s, under 19s, and under 21s as well. So yeah, I don't really know much about him. I think left back is a position we do really need to strengthen, considering our only option there is really Magoma.
Well, you maybe could argue that Sterling as well, but I don't want to go down that road.
Yep.
What I would say is it's a position where we need competition for it.
Certainly. I do agree with that.
The only issue I've got, and I'm not knocking the guy in any way at all, it might sound like a but it's quite similar to Magoma just now. I got it wrong last week. Somebody corrected me. He's no under 21 captain for England. He was under 19s. I did get that wrong. But this guy sounds quite similar. And that is the kind of players you're wanting for the future. But you don't want too many, like for likes, because we really need just now experience. I get what you're saying about the league, and I felt the very same as you did after the Hearts game. But it's quite simple. We cannot be giving up. We can't be surrendering. The players can't be getting a wage and not expected to win. Or try and win is a big thing. Try. As long as they're giving it all, you can't really complain. But if you're bringing that boy in, he's not going to be really experienced. However, he does sound like a good player, and it would make Magoma a better player, I'd imagine, if it's similar age competing for that position. Could be all right, but the defence, well, we need a new defence for next year anyway. So that is a priority, is getting defenders in, but it has to be the right defenders for me.
Yeah, I mean, I do agree. I think if we are going to go for any sort of defenders, I believe we also really missed out. And I think I've mentioned that in the show before. We really missed out in going back in for Nico Katic. And I know what you're saying with Windass, it's a step backwards. But I disagree. I think it would be different if we brought in Nico Katic, because he went to Schalke for...
He became a better player when he left Rangers. There's no many times that happens.
He did. And you know what, fair play to him, because he's doing well with Schalke. I believe they're actually top of the Zweite Bundesliga, the second division in German football as well. So he's doing well there. He's a starting centre back for them. He's one of those sort of defend first type of players. He's no one to play it from the back. He's just a solid get right in amongst the player. And I believe that really suits Scottish football, that sort of mentality, that style of play.
The worrying thing we're talking about here
Mhm.
is not just tonight, but for the last 6 months or a year. When was the last time we spoke about a young boy for the youth team breaking through? Marine youth. It isn't happening. And every manager, this isn't, no way is this a dig at Danny Rowe. But every manager that comes in tells us that's what we're going to do. We're going to focus on bringing youth players in. We're going to build our own players, and the academy is going to work. Since the Advocate days, I think you're talking about 10 players, maybe 15 at the most, stretching it, that have actually came up for the academies and been successful. Probably less than that, to be fair, if we're talking about a real quality level. At some point, for that model to work, it has to be done correctly over a long period. But also, if it's not going to work, be as well getting rid of it. What's the point of a youth system if nobody's ever really going to come through?
Yeah, well, one that I'm a wee bit disappointed that hasn't really amounted to much as the young boy Bailey Rice. So I do see you leaving in January, to be honest, because he's getting no game time. He's getting
You
no
wouldn't blame him.
chances.
You wouldn't blame him.
No, and I wouldn't blame him either. A young boy, we brought him in from Motherwell, and I believe we actually did have the option of bringing in either Bailey Rice or Lennon Miller at the time as well.
No, we actually had the choice of getting the two of them, and it was going to cost pennies more to get the two of them, and they done the cheap option and took one.
Yeah, well, of course,
because Lennon Miller kept playing way Motherwell. That's why he's probably classed as a better player. I'm not 100% sure if the two of them went to Rangers and the two of them and dropped down the level of the playing for the B team. If Lennon Miller would be a better player, but Lennon Miller's had a chance to thrive in that Motherwell team.
Yep, and he's thriving abroad as well with Udinese as well. Scored his first goal a few months ago.
But he also settled in very quickly. I mean, when he settled in, it wasn't a case of he was like homesick or anything like that.
I believe
so he's matured.
That's the reason why I think there's no really an excuse for players coming in from abroad and taking 2 or 3 months to settle in, because you look at the young Scottish players who are going abroad. Lewis Ferguson, who's the captain of Bologna.
They've all done it. They've all done it. And they're not good enough.
McTominay, Billy Gilmore.
But none of them are good enough for Rangers to win. Do you know what I mean? So that has to stop. That you're getting a good argument that they get there and they settle in quick, but they didn't need to settle in if they were in Scotland.
No.
And that's a major concern for me, because if we don't start starting up the good Scottish talent, then Celtic or Hearts will start doing it, because at some point it's going to become glaringly obvious that we're missing out on this.
Yep, that's the thing. I mean, I do think we should be looking at the Scottish market, but I do agree we should be starting to look at like your more sort of unknown markets where a lot of other clubs that maybe aren't looking, because I think there's a lot of hidden talent there. Celtic done it with the Asian market as well, specifically under Ange Postecoglou, but I think it carried on actually under Brendan Rodgers. So I don't think that was it seemed as if it was an Ange Postecoglou influence at first, but I think that's influenced other managers going forward as well, and I think they'll carry on doing that. I think they'll carry on doing that. That's why I do like the sound of going in maybe the Scandinavian market or Eastern Europe, these sort of no unknown places, but like places where you're not expecting to go for your top talent. If you know what I mean.
I know that's a good point. Let us know who you think that Rangers should be going in for. Have you seen any players where you live? You might live abroad, and you might watch other leagues where you think there's players out there that we could be going for, and your opinion on it. Let us know if you think Josh Windass would be forward or backwards. It's interesting to get that. What I'm going to do is quickly catch up with the comments here, because we've not got anybody doing the admin for us tonight apart from me. So I can get the Gregory Pecks on so I can see them for a minute.
You get the Gregory Pecks on, as you call them. Though.
You're too young to know who Gregory Peck was.
No, I don't have a clue. Just a wee first one here. Merry Christmas, Bears. All I want for Christmas is Rangers winning. I do agree with that. I think that's all we can ask for now, is just for us to start winning games.
A few comments about me, Tommy. Yep. He was a well-known character.
Yeah. It's a no for me. R.E. Windass had the talent, but not the bottle. What's changed? Older, so hardly going to be better. Yeah, I believe he's 31, so he's not young anymore in terms of football. I think he's probably only got about 3 or 4 years.
Although if you're bringing him in for 6 months, it's probably a peak age to bring him in and play right enough.
Yeah, well,
but I wouldn't be bringing him in.
Another wee comment here from Chick. Aribo, I'd say a yes.
Yep.
R.E. Windass, the story comes from Sky Sports, so as they're in bed with the Terriers, I'd say I don't believe it.
Well, I hope so. I hope it's not happening anyway. And again, Chick, it's nothing personal with the boy, because he's never bad-mouthed Rangers anyway, and he gave it his all. I just don't think it's good enough.
Yep. I'd go for Scandinavians, usually tougher as the weather is, pardon my language, shite there. Usually bigger and tougher. Yeah, I mean, I'd agree with that. It's actually a point that I never actually thought about, the weather.
Well,
similar conditions to here.
Well, that's what I was going to say, is to quote Chick, it's shite. It's almost identical to Scottish football at times, so they wouldn't be able to take too long to settle in, that's correct.
The Belgian player, Tour Romans, sounds okay. as it helped tempt Nico to stay.
Possibly.
And if others are coming in tough, Nico would start playing better. Well, I'd agree and disagree. I don't think it would really influence whether he stays or leaves.
A lot of this is to do with agents as well. The agents are trying
Yeah.
to push them out the move.
Yeah, of course.
But the only thing with that chick, it's just because somebody's for your country doesn't mean you're going to like them.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? There's no guarantee they're going to like
I-
each other
I
either.
do
And also, if you need I see if you need something to make you want to play for Rangers, do we really want them there? However, I do get your point.
Our problem is we don't walk away. Look at the crowds when Advocate was winning all. They dropped. They win it. They win all, and their crowds increase. Ditto losing. They walk away. We keep going.
And one more.
I disagree with walking away from your club. To be honest, I don't like that whole stadiums being empty or protesting by not going to
No,
games.
I don't like it, but I'm also a great believer in people pay a lot of money to watch Rangers. They follow them for the world, and if you pay your money, you're entitled to do what you want. I don't think you should ever be in a position where you're we're ranting at fans for no going. If you don't go, you don't go for any reason. But I prefer to do the protests in the park before the games.
Yeah.
But there's nothing to protest about now.
Antman and Asgard are Scandinavian players. They're not that great. But what we were talking there about the weather conditions.
Just adapting. We're not saying they're good players. Asgard isn't Scandinavian. He's English.
Yeah. Asgard spent his whole career in England, grown up in Liverpool, playing for Wigan for 5 years, and playing with Luton, and now he's with the Rangers.
His dad's from Norway, I think.
Yeah, I think he's his dad.
And he looks like Greta Thunberg, so you're maybe getting a wee bit confused.
Then
However, Ant-Man's just been...
Ant-Man spent a lot of his career in Holland as well, so...
But also, see if he didn't have a good... his debut, if he didn't have a good debut, then people would be calling him absolute geek. So, unfortunately, but I do think that they can adapt.
That's the thing that people have a bit of hope that he's going to turn into a good player, because he's shown the promise there. He's shown the promise, and...
Aye, but he seemed to get...
in his first game and the first game after Russell Martin left.
He was when he's very direct, he's a good player, but they seem to be playing that.
He seems to be... He cuts in on his left foot when there's no space to. I think that's one of his comments. That's a good point, Simon. R.E. Steven Gerrard, he opted in that direction, didn't he?
What we're talking about, I can't mind.
That's why it's up to you. Yeah, to be honest.
I can't remember.
Geography-wise, I don't think it matters where you buy a player. Just being the people buying the players, that's been the problem. Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that. I think obviously we gave... But
just to confirm what I was meaning with that, Jim, is Jim Cunningham. I can see that. Jim, what I'm meaning with that is geography-wise, it does matter financially. I don't mean in terms of ability, but for the similar ability type player, you'll get a lot cheaper. In the Scandinavian market, you'll get the English market, just because they can.
Aye. Well, I would agree in the fact that it's been the players that's been the problem. Ross Wilson, even Nils Coppin and Kevin Thelwell are given way too much power at Rangers, especially Kevin Thelwell. Kevin Thelwell had pretty much the same every single transfer. Yes, he's a sporting director, but when you look at the signings that failed, even when he was at Everton and his Wolves, and I think
we have to hope.
We
have to hope that what happened in the summer this year never happens again. The Americans have made an asset. However, they've acknowledged that.
Yeah,
and we can keep going on about it and banging our head off a wall. We just have to hope we've learned from it.
Yeah, that's the point that Chick was talking about. Gerrard signed others from the same area. Well,
I
would agree with that. I think that's really all the comments.
Far. We'll get a wee chat about the Gerrard interview.
We'll chat a wee bit about that. That was interesting. I never actually watched the other parts. I only skipped to the parts that were about Rangers. Talking about when he was at Rangers, why he left Rangers, and why he never came back.
He spoke it. It was quite I'm no interested in other teams. I don't do all this. I've got 2 and 3 teams, but I was too lazy to walk here and turn the fast forward the phone. So when I was listening in the kitchen, so I just listened to the whole interview. He spoke very well about Liverpool, and I like that. Whether we like it or no, that's his first team. That's his main team. That's his club as a boy, and that's a club that he loves, and he would do anything for them.
Yeah, but that's exactly what he said in his interview. He said that it's a club that if they needed any help from, he'd be there.
But he also made it clear that he's not wanting the manager to get it sacked. And I thought that was a bit of class for him.
I did see that.
Here's my thoughts on this. I've spoken about it a few times. I've said this for a while. Gerrard's got in sport, he's probably got one of the best media teams, which was ironic because when he was with Rangers, we've got the worst public relations team.
Mhm.
If you remember his first game at Aberdeen before I swear away for it, his first game against Aberdeen away, he commented on the fact that it's well known Rangers don't get many decisions in Scottish football.
Yeah.
And the board told him to shut up. They never done it again. Anyway, he's got a great media team, and he doesn't do interviews like that by chance. If you remember the one he done just before he never got the job.
Yeah.
Again,
Rio Ferdinand.
Yep, with Ferdinand. He doesn't do that by chance. He's got plenty going on in his life. He's living in all over the world. He doesn't need to do an interview like that at that time. And if he did do an interview like that, and it was just talking about his career, it's a bit of a coincidence with McCoist, who incidentally, I've criticised him as a manager, but I think his interview was outstanding. It really was insightful.
Yeah.
And they both let each other speak
Mhm.
and gave each other credit.
Aye.
But back to what I'm saying, Gerrard knows exactly what he's doing there. I think he's putting a message out there to me that he didn't stick his two fingers up at Rangers.
No.
There was a reason why he left, and there's a reason why he didn't come back at that time. Because he corrected McCoist when McCoist said he didn't fancy it, and he
Yeah.
jumped in. They went, "It's not that I didn't fancy it,"
Mm.
and then he gave us a
I've seen
valuable reason. Now, if he's been let down man to man by Dougie Park, it has to be Dougie Park because he spoke well about Dave King before it. And then he says he was told man to man by the directors, so maybe John Bennett and Dougie Park. I think what's happened is because the two of them are big Rangers men, and I'm not wanting to be slagging them on the channel one night they're gone. They've done their best for the club, and they love it. They love the club. I think they probably just didn't have the finances for it, but they should have been honest with him. And I think that's what he was saying.
That's exactly what he said. Yeah, I mean,
a bit honest and being up front, and because of
transparency.
that, they let him down. So my opinion is he's opening the door for the fact that he would come back in the future. If basically, I think he was saying it, if it wasn't a scenario where Kevin Thelwell was picking the players a few months ago, he would have came back.
Yeah, well, I think that was that seemed to be one of the main reasons, obviously, before this interview came out. But a lot of folks speculated the fact that Kevin Thelwell was probably the major influence on why he never returned. So you'll probably find that is one of the cases as well. That is
but do you agree the timing isn't just a coincidence?
No, I do agree. I do agree with that. I do agree that he also spoke well in his interview as well.
And there's no way in the world, right, that him and McCoist are doing that interview, and before it, they're not having a chat.
Mm-hmm.
So McCoist knows what he's going to be asking him, right? He's not asking him questions about Rangers, and he's going, what did he do that for? Because they wouldn't have put the interview out. Mm-hmm. So the two of them have had a chat. They've timed it perfectly, and they've lined the bullets up basically to throw into Rangers to say he's still available in the future, whether that be as maybe working above Danny Rowe, or if Danny Rowe ever loses his job or moves on. But I think that was timed quite well for a reason, and that's why it was with McCoist. Again, I might be overthinking it, but all his answers and everything was all the questions that we would have asked as a support.
Yeah. Obviously, I think at the time when Gerrard did leave the club, there was a lot of animosity towards him, which I think isn't necessarily unwarranted, because I do understand the fact that he's left in mid-season to go down south to get bit.
But it happens right in. That happened as soon as
it does happen.
As soon as was the very same scenario.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, it's not exactly as if Gerrard left Rangers in a bad position either, because we were in a League Cup semi-final against Hibs.
Bloody allergic to this dog.
Which we ended up losing. I think the dog's allergic to you.
It's me doing the farting and ain't no her for a change.
I left us. We were in a League Cup semi-final, which we ultimately lost to Hibs 3-1, and also we were 7 or 8 points clear at the top of the league as well, which we fumbled as well.
But it's raw emotion. The fans are fickle. If he's got a good reason, if he's been let down, he was promised a £6 million player, a £6 million budget. He's batting Joey Veerman in, who as well, I think went recently for £20 million or about that. So his values went up. He's a good football player, and he was what Rangers needed at the time. And if he's been let down, if Gerrard was let down with all these promises, maybe we're biased. We're going like, you would never leave Rangers. But he's a Liverpool guy. He's got Rangers at his heart now. But if he's been let down big time, because as much as I don't watch English football, I can understand his point that the English League, the Premiership, is a gold mine in terms of wanting to get in there to manage.
Well, of course, I think he's always going to have that sort of dream of.
And to be fair, you wouldn't grudge him for that.
No, of course not. And I think going down to Aston Villa, he's getting closer. He's getting into the Premier League. He's getting more into the limelight of the British media and even world media as well. Going into
But I think there was a wee
biggest league
bit.
in the world.
There's unfinished business. He said it a few times. And
Yes.
he's mentioned it. And I don't like the kind of pressure when that happens at the same time as Danny Rose in the job. Same as it happened with Beale with Gio. When I look back, that was kind of really bad behaviour.
Quite snaky.
Gerrard wasn't really doing that. I think he was kind of clearing himself that maybe I don't know. I just think he was kind of clearing it for that there could be a position for him with Rangers that doesn't involve him being the actual manager of the club, or maybe being the manager and Danny Rowe being the head coach sort of thing. Now the reason I'm saying this, I think could possibly work, would be Gerrard can attract a far better class of player because his name Gerrard's Hollywood when it comes to football, but Danny Rowe he's done a lot of groundwork to be where he is, and he deserves his opportunity.
Yep.
And if we're going to bring a director of football type manager, whatever you want to call it in, maybe that's him letting you know that Gerrard's available. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, well, he did.
He never rolled it out.
Yeah, well, he said that in his interview with Rio Ferdinand as well. He wasn't ruling anything out, and he did say that there was unfinished business at Rangers, which I do believe there is, considering the way that he not the way that he left us, but in the position that he left us in as well. But when he was talking about why he left Rangers, he basically said that, for those who didn't watch it, he basically said that he was promised a budget of $6 million in that summer window. He never got it. He was trying to fix the roof whilst the sun was shining, which I think is the right thing to do. There's always ways to improve. It's never perfect. But I think he said that as much as that wasn't the main reason why he left, it was certainly an influence. And I think if he was back with that, he said he probably would have ended up staying with the club. And he was talking about how the opportunity to go down to Aston Villa, a massive club in world football, and arguably the biggest league.
It's not the Rangers, you know.
Yeah, I mean, of course not. Of course not. But you've got to give them a bit of respect. They are still a big club.
That's a big club in Birmingham.
Mm-hmm.
If I was to pick one or two, I'm a Birmingham guy anyway.
Well, they've won a European Cup. They won a Champions League, so you can't.
They're not the famous Glasgow
no,
Rangers, is what I'm saying.
Of course they're not. Of course they're not. But it's still a great opportunity for him. And he still said
it's a massive opportunity.
Of course it is. And he said that opportunity probably still would have came up anyways. So I don't know if that was maybe him showing a bit of regret that he
that's
left
what my point is.
possibly.
I think he did regret it a wee bit.
Possibly.
Something that I liked about the interview, this is me doing the psychological side of it. I really bad nose cause of her. See, when Gerrard talks about Rangers, I've only noticed this recently, he always has a smile on his face, and you can see the passion behind it, and you can see you can see that he understands the club now. Yes, you could say he's let us down when he left, the way he spoke to Emma Dodds, the behaviour. But we've took players back, managers back in the past. I can remember Big Jock Wallace coming back. It's one of my most memorable moments as a kid. When Jock Wallace came back to Rangers, was like the greatest thing in the whole world. It didn't work out. But you know what? The fans forgive quite quickly. Although they didn't forgive Big Jock for before MD jumps in. He wasn't treated very well the first time. But the fans forgive these things. If he came in and he made Danny Rowe's job a bit better and a bit easier, and he corrected all the mistakes that the previous regime have done, and he can get the academy working, then to me it's a no-brainer. Yeah, if he gets the offer.
Yeah, and you're touching on that point with the academy that we were talking about before. It's somewhere that needs massively improved, and we've been speaking about this for years upon years upon years. The academy at Rangers is nowhere near good enough. You're seeing even some half-decent players coming out of Celtic as well, Hearts, Aberdeen, obviously with Lewis Ferguson.
Well,
as well.
This is how bad it was, right? This is about 20 years ago now. We were at a meeting with Rangers. We were the Rangers Supporters Trust. I was in it. And we went to a meeting with David Murray. And I remember him distinctly. We were criticising the fact that the academy wasn't working. And he said something along the lines of, it's costing 5 to 6 million a year to run it. And we're not bringing any players out. Why don't I scrap it and just buy a player at 6 million every year? That was his attitude. So if you're going to have an academy, you need to produce the goods. You need players coming through. Maybe not every year, but every second year. I can't think of that many that I would really say that it was worth the money and time and investment. If you had a young kid now and they had a chance to go to a team in Scotland to progress their career, your heart would say Rangers.
Yeah, and I think it's a real shame.
But you probably wouldn't go send them to Rangers because they don't want to get a chance.
I think it's a real shame that these young players are not getting the opportunity to thrive at Rangers. But one that I feel quite sorry for is Ross McCausland, course, a boy from County Antrim, young Rangers, grew up a Rangers fan all of his life. A good Rangers man.
His dad drinks in the Cob Club. He used to have before in Sandy Row.
And the KOB, aye.
But the problem is with that, I don't feel sorry for him. He got to live the dream. He played for Rangers.
Yeah, of course he did.
He got to do that, the Ulsterman's dream. He played for Rangers. I'm pretty sure he's played well for Northern Ireland, hasn't he? So he's done well in his career.
Yeah.
So sometimes you're just not good enough. It's not a case that he's not played football anymore. He's in a holiday resort, living life, and he might come back one day. But I don't think he was good enough. I don't think that's the problem. If the guy's coming through and not good enough.
There was times where he did show promise and showed that he could possibly go on and be a good player. I do think he deserved a better move than Lamissel, I believe.
But that can
happen. Sometimes you've got to take a step backwards.
There's a hell of a lot of pressure for a wee guy that's family's based in the Sandy Row in Belfast, playing for Rangers and having bad games or whatever, and he can't get home without getting criticised and people saying that, oh, you only like him because he's for Ulster and things like that. There's a lot of pressure on the boy, and to get away for 6 months or a year to somewhere like Cyprus and get back to enjoying football, that wouldn't be a bad thing for him. And he'll get a club in Scotland, I think. But the door's still open with Rangers. I think it's a good move at the time to let him go.
Aye. Your question here: would you give Liam Kelly a chance and goal against Motherwell? Yeah, well, we're talking about that.
Spoke about it.
We were live on, I believe, was it Monday? Monday night. Last night, actually, we were live. Last night, we were speaking about the chance of him possibly starting these next 2 games, Motherwell and St Mirren, both at home. I think there's nothing that he's done where he doesn't deserve a chance.
I agree with that. Danny Rose said today that they had at the start of the week, they've had a clear their meeting and everything seems to be resolved, blah, 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 blah. That tells me that Butland probably won't get dropped. But if I was Liam Kelly, I'd be asking the question, when am I getting my chance? Problem with Butland, he flatters to deceive a wee bit. There is times I think he's an absolutely fantastic goalkeeper. But big games, big moments, he seems to make an absolute pig's ear on a regular basis. Now that one, the first one you can see was the first goal against Hearts, you can see was just shitty distribution and these things happen in football. But the second goal, now whether it was offside or no, the second goal, how Shanklin can get that in shows you Shanklin's ability, how he can get it in for that angle, but he still shouldn't be able to score.
All goalkeepers should be conceding that. It's like
at any level, and I mean at any level.
At any level, junior level, schoolboy level as well.
And the manager can't account for that. You can do all the training you want.
Of course not. When it comes down to individual errors in the team, you cannot and should not blame a manager for that. Absolutely not, because that's nothing to do with.
You can't coach that.
Be set up.
So because for that reason, I would give Liam Kelly a chance.
We started off very well against Hearts, I believe, for the first 20-25 minutes. We started off very well, and I think if that goal was allowed,
and it should have counted.
And it probably should have counted. When you look at recent angles that came out in the last few days or so, the goal should have counted. But if that goes in, it's a totally different game, because we started off very much on the strong foot.
Well, just own that. I know we're getting away from the Butland thing for a minute, but just own it, because I don't want to forget this. I don't like the way the offside rules getting changed and the way football's going with VAR, and is it a tiny bit of your body? But if you're going to go with these rules, and that is the rules of the game, then why do these rules not apply with Rangers? Because you can quite clearly, when it's paused, see the opposition player's boot. It's just ahead of Miofsky.
Aye.
Another thing is that I still say that there's too much an influence for Sky TV in terms of the decision making for VAR. I watched the game here with Gordy, right? See when they first went to VAR, the angle it showed you, and they froze it at, and I think it was Michael Stewart or somebody in the panel was ranting and raving. It was definitely offside. That angle was not the angle they showed you at half time. So why did the half time panel at Sky change the angle? Yet they've already decided that was the angle that decides it. Yeah. Things like that don't sit right with me. Yeah. I don't like these rules. I think it should be a lot more obvious, the offside. But going by the rules that are in place, that was a goal. How many points are Rangers going to drop and lose because of these honest mistakes? Because it's all too often. And unfortunately, even under the Americans, we have a board who are shitbags who won't challenge it.
Over. That's the thing. You're sort of just like letting the SFA and referees walk all over you. If you're not doing anything about it, it's like letting them walk all over you.
This is why I don't want to talk about them across the city, right? But this carry on with Lawwell's incredible. He's had the referees in his pocket for 20 odd years. They're terrified to do anything against Celtic, as you've seen 80 games without a red card. But sorry, but just for 2 seconds, he's put the pressure on them. The last time they got a red card, Lawwell came out and actively criticised the referees. And since then, there's been umpteen instances they should be sent off. So I don't know why they were glad to get rid of him, because he had done a great job for them. But I'm not really interested in him. The point I'm making is Rangers don't have anybody like that at Ibrox. It's challenging.
Yeah. And I'm going to actually go back to Lawwell. As much as you're saying you don't really like to talk about them. But with Lawwell leaving Celtic, do you think that will change the influence that referees have?
It's already changed. It's already changed. They had the media in their pocket and they had the referees. I don't know what will happen with the referees if you'll get a fairer Scottish League. But what I do know is you've seen 3 big stories in the paper last week attacking the Celtic support right after he left their club. That's quite clearly he's instructed to do that. It's crazy that they're getting rid of the guy, but I don't really care about him, to be fair. No. But you'll see a lot of changes now because he's gone. Sometimes people don't realise what they've got till they've lost it. So I find it incredible, to be honest with you, but I don't really care about him.
We come in here. Kelly will get a chance against Annan. I think
that's not good enough.
I know exactly that's not good enough. I think that's also too long to wait. I make this point so often, maybe not on the channel, but so often outside to pals, to punters in the pub or whatever. Goalkeepers are the most protected people in football. Goalkeepers are the most protected
100%.
Position in football as well. I think if you're not playing well, you should get dropped. You shouldn't be playing.
I mean, the question I would say there, Kelly will get his chance against Annan. Why does he go to wait that long?
Why Annan? Exactly, and why? Like when we've got games in the league that are extremely winnable, Motherwell and St Mirren, both at home, games that we should be winning and winning by major margins. Games that the goalkeeper really shouldn't be involved. And I know what you're saying, that we're not doing too well. I do agree. Let's be a bit realistic. We're probably not going to romp them. Probably not going to.
Motherwell's probably playing the best football in Scottish football just now.
I do agree with that, but
with less pressure on them because they're behind us anyway. They're not ahead of us again, aren't they? But we've got the game in hand. But Motherwell got into that game with a lot less pressure, and they're a really good footballing team now. But how many mistakes does Butland make? That's the point I'm trying. Do you just keep letting him make mistakes? Because if he makes one, see the 2 howlers he made at the weekend, if he did that against Celtic, everybody would be coming on here the news saying drop him. So when do you put the marker down?
I agree.
I like Butland.
I do like him, but he's not. And I'm not saying this just because he's had one poor game, but I'm saying this because he's had multiple poor games. I think a class goalkeeper, especially in the best team, I'm going to say the best team in the country, the biggest team in the country, a class goalkeeper doesn't go from a 10 out of 10 performance to a 2 out of 10 performance the week after, I think.
And also, just to put the cat amongst the pigeons, there's no a player just now at Rangers who's part of this leadership committee that's actually worth their salt. Every one of these guys in that leadership committee, I would probably have them order up. They're all guys that are all past their sell-by date with Rangers. None of them appear to be leaders, and none of them really appear to be the inspiration that we need. Whether we like Butland as a person or no, I like Liam Kelly. And I think the guy's he's a blue nose, he's a reliable goalkeeper. And if he's not good enough, get somebody else in that is. But I would be giving him an opportunity before the Annan game.
Are we coming here from SNP Gunplatoon?
I like that name.
That's quite funny. Doesn't help when McCann is saying in commentary it's definitely offside before he.
I heard that.
But the thing is, see at the time, I'll be honest, I'll hold my hand up. I thought that's definitely offside. Don't get disallowed. I did think that, but I didn't see the angle, of course, that they showed at half time. Then I was like, but I thought it'd be a bit different.
I think what the guys kind of pointing to the comment I'm making that how much an influence has Sky got in this far.
I know exactly. I think that's what he means.
Before the referee.
I think that's what Guy means.
Sky announced it. Sky said that the referee doesn't know the decision yet, but we'll find out in a minute. How does Sky know before it? And if they know before it, what is Neil McCann doing screaming? Because that's what it was, screaming. This isn't a goal. This is going to be chalked off.
There's not a player in that team that hasn't made a mistake recently, in it. I think that's fair to say as well, because the whole team haven't been up to it. It's all well and good pointing the finger at your Raskins, your Taverniers, Butlands and whatever like that, your more high-profile players in the squad, but everyone's not up to it.
But also, it's not about, you can make mistakes, we're all human, right? Everybody makes mistakes. It's how you redeem yourself. It's how you come back from it. We just don't seem to... We lose 2 goals in 4 minutes, 5 minutes, say, against Hearts. How many times have we had 5-10 minute spells where the games are lost? For an example, Bruges. Nobody don't want to think about it. And that isn't down to making a mistake. That's down to terrible concentration, and you don't maybe have the mindset. You have to go over it. You make an arse of it, fine, but you need to get yourself back into it. That might not be easy for players, but we need to find players who can get on with it.
Yeah, I agree with that. Moving on, of course, we've been speaking about the Motherwell game a wee bit, but going on it now, it's going to be a tough game, whether you like it or not.
Well, Motherwell's they've got less pressure, but everything to play for.
Exactly. I think a lot of these teams come to Ibrox and they're like, they're just like, I don't care if you win or not, just don't lose.
And I think all credit. The league's been a good league this season, and it's been hard to watch, but it's been entertaining. We'll remember it for a long time. It's probably quite fair to say that there's still going to be a lot of things happening the next couple of months that surprise everyone. 27th that game.
27th of December.
27th of December, so there's no voting anywhere players in by then. But Suter's running about then, ready to come back. And as much as I'm saying the other day that I don't miss him, that's just because I was pissed off. Sometimes you're ranting, sometimes you're a fan ranting and raving, and you're saying things right. And thank God we don't do the watch alongs that you what I do, because I'd be completely banned. Suter's going to come back in. We need to stabilise the defence again. I keep saying this over and over and over again. We've got good defenders, but none of them seem to be comfortable playing alongside each other. But I wouldn't be writing off Motherwell too easy. I think Motherwell are in a good position now. And people won't like me saying that. People are going to want me to come on and say it's going to be a dodo or walk in the park. This season's proved that our players under pressure can't really cope. And another point was that Gerrard made is when the heat of Ibrox is a lot of players can't cope with that as well. So
no game this season or going forward is going to be a walk in the park. Absolutely not, because the two promoted teams that came up this season, Livingston and Falkirk, we played at home. We struggled against Livingston. We dropped points against Falkirk.
Everybody laughed about Stephen Presley being a manager. We scored in minutes to go, equalised against them. So all these teams have gave us a hard game. We really have to get our own. We have to get our own house in order. It's about just winning till we get into January now, but I'm not 100% sure how many players, because we're all desperate. We're going to get all these players in January, but it could be a bit of a downer if we don't get them. I've got bottles of whiskey in that house for Mull and all these places that I've not drank for a while. I'll probably be tanning the 4th of January. It could be pretty depressing. It could take. This is going that these mistakes from the summer are going to take at least a year, possibly 2 years to rectify. That's how many mistakes were made.
Absolutely, I agree with that. Confidence here from Jick. Confidence is lacking. Get some tough fellas in. And that changes. Dirty tackles are met by a bear wanting to fight. The others going in confidence. We were saying this on Monday night, I believe. We need some, and pardon my language, we need some horrible bastards in the door.
Big Gogic would be it's a no-brainer for me. That's the first one that comes to me. We need to get guys that people are shit scared of. That's a big thing. We need to get, and I mean the days of somebody mentioned the other day when I done my Billy Davis interview, Gregor Stephen, Terry Hurlock, John Gregg, Terry Butcher, real John Brown, real hard nasty bastards is what you're needing on the park, because all the great teams have got them. Rangers don't have anybody that would frighten you. Even with defenders, I think the big boy Fernandez is going to become I think he's going to be a really good player for Rangers, but he doesn't have a bad bone in him. He just looks like a nice big guy, but he's a threat up front. But we really need somebody. We need an enforcer. It's probably the old term they used to use. Chick will know what I mean by that. A Graham Souness type enforcer. This league doesn't really like that, and we would suffer with sending offs and things like that. But we need somebody on the park that can fight, and I don't see much fight.
You comment here, even in lads, a couple of quality signings could really invigorate the group, keep the chins up, lads. I mean, I do think. Yeah, I've not lost all hope for this season, but I've lost a good chunk of it, to be honest. Especially with the league, 12 points behind, 9 points behind if we do win a game in hand, which is Aberdeen at home, which I don't think it's a certainty that we do win that game as much as it should be.
I've not gave up at all. I've
not gave up. I do think keep believing. I do believe in that.
I've seen a lot worse Rangers teams. I know people say this is a worse Rangers team. You see this on Facebook all the time now. I was actually looking at other clubs. I don't know what team it was, came on my page, and a guy was saying it's the worst so-and-so they've ever seen. This is a phenomenon that you get on the internet. we're not that bad, but
Mhm.
they're not that good. That's the problem. And there's no Chick's made the point there's no enforcers, but there's also no flair players. The only flair player we've possibly got, he's too young still, is Mikey Moore. We don't
Yeah.
have guys that win the game. Guys
Uh-huh.
like Gascoigne's or Davy Cooper's, Mark Walters, that can grab a game for the scruff of the neck and change it. You have got
Mhm.
Gassama, who's got an ability to do that, but he doesn't seem to be doing it.
Remember Ross Perry and Jack Simpson, both built like brick
Yeah.
brick shit houses, but cupboards. Aye. Well, Jack Simpson never really played much games for Rangers, but I can see why. A wee comment here. I would take Sakala back. That's another one we mentioned the other night as well.
Sakala was did he get made captain of his team?
Recently made
International?
captain of the Zambia national team. Yep.
I would never get rid of him.
Bring Aribo back. A point that we were making earlier on.
Aribo's the Aribo one's a no-brainer. Aye, Brandon.
Barker, oof.
I nearly swore again. We'll get to it in our band.
No, I know.
Eh,
Almost said something as well.
aye, we've had some real piss poor players there the years, but there's no point of signing players for the sake of signing them. That's a big thing for us. We need to make sure we're signing players that's going to be the right type players that are going to settle in quite quickly. But I'm interested in the names that are coming in and people's opinions.
Yeah.
No?
We couple more. Do we give Tavern another year? Guy's done for me, but some amazing memories in those Thursday nights. Well, I do think, and a point that was made on Monday night by Mark Dingwall, I would like to see Tavernier, our club captain, a great servant to the club, been here for 10 years. This is his 10th year, his testimonial year. You'd like to see him go out with a bit of dignity. You don't want to see him go out on a bad note. You want to see him go out.
He'll sign
strongly.
out with a testimonial. I think he'll play less and less games if we get the right signings in January, and he'll sign out with a testimonial in the summer.
Yep.
That I don't really grudge players if they play that long because he came for the lower leagues. He came up for the lower leagues.
But for 250,000.
But he came up for the lower leagues with Rangers, stuck by us.
Yep.
There's times that I've been really angry about him. Some of the comments he's made, I'm not going to get into them because it'll just cause too much debate about stuff. But he's made a couple of comments outside of football that really, really angered me and were incorrect about the Rangers support. And I don't like anybody having a go at support. Especially when we're doing all the levels, and there's no another support in the world that could have carried us back. There's no other team that went back to a European final as quick as we did. So a couple of things he's done that really have pissed me off. But in general, he's been a great signing. I'd like to see him getting his testimonial in the summer and hopefully get charity, be fair, get the money to charity, but just about a bit of dignity. But
yeah, I would hope so.
It's time for a new generation of defence. We need a full new defence, and that includes Suter.
Agreed.
Suter's more interested, and I know this is maybe going to split opinion, but anybody that picks Scotland or Rangers can fuck off as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, well, we're just approaching, just past the 50-minute mark. I think it's fair to say we can.
We'll do another 10 minutes. We'll get comments coming in now.
Aye, well, we've got another wee 10 minutes.
You were meant to stop at 1:45. I've took my specs off.
The Gregory Pex.
The Gregory Pex. Aye.
Another wee comment here from Chick, who is commenting very, very well tonight. Thank you very much, Chick, for your interactions.
Yep.
The reason we sign shite players is the owners know we'll show up and never walk away. It's easy money / investment.
This is a great point he's making. Some of this garbage that we've signed there the last 5 years are absolutely filthy rich. These are boys that can retire after they leave Rangers. He's right with that. There's no incentive. There's no nothing.
Aye.
They've left Rangers. They've got a great life, and we're left to carry the can. It's pretty sickening, to be fair. It's not only Rangers that's happened to, but it's only Rangers we care about.
I don't think the shite players that we're signing has nothing to do with the owners. So I slightly disagree with your comment there. The owners know will show up and never walk away, because as much as I'm not saying the Rangers support have walked away from Rangers, but we've walked away from games before we're not playing so well and we're leaving early in games, which is something that I strongly disagree with.
But I believe when Chick's saying it, I believe Gerard alluded to that we were going for my memory. If Alex Kelly's watching, he'll know what I'm talking about. Gerard wanted Veerman, and instead of Veerman, we got Junior, whatever his name is.
Janino
Bacuna instead, and apparently Ross Wilson was instructed to find a player that would be an alternative and cheaper. We got him free, I believe. And that was one of the reasons that Gerard left, because he was absolutely fuming. The player he wanted and the player he got was completely different. if that's what Chick's meaning, I would say he's right with that.
Aye, probably.
You have to get, if the manager's been promised quality, you need to give him quality.
Another wee comment here. Who will be captain next season? Can't see Nico being here, so I'm stumped.
Barron.
Probably Jack Butland. What are you saying there? Barron. I don't know. I think he's still a bit young and he's still a bit raw. I think to be handed the role of captain.
I don't think Jack Butland will be there next season, and I don't think Raskin will be there. My answer would either be Barron or they'll bring somebody in. That's captain material.
I think if I had a Suter and Butland are both still there, or one of them are still there, it'll be either one of them. I think realistically, looking at it, I don't think we can give Suter another season. I don't see his bringing a player and automatically making club captain.
Unless depending who the player is. They've done it with Terry Butcher, for example. If it's a quality player, you can do it.
If it's a player that knows Rangers.
And also, sorry for jumping in with you there, but also something you mentioned, so pretty sure you mentioned it all week, as if Liam Kelly became the Rangers goalkeeper, he was a captain of Motherwell.
I was a captain of Motherwell for a year or two.
Again, if he was good enough to be the Rangers goalkeeper, and they don't have a captain, the guy knows all about the club, he knows the standards, he probably wouldn't be a bad shout if he was the Rangers goalkeeper next year.
You comment there alluding to what we were talking about earlier on. Gerrard is gone, we don't want him back. Well, I don't think he knocked us back for the wrong reasons, but at the same time, I wouldn't go back in for him either.
Well, I don't get the we. Everybody's got an opinion. Everybody's entitled to their opinions. I think if you've done a poll, I would say about 95% of the Rangers support would take him back, to be fair.
I would take him back, but I don't see he's going back in for him now.
Well, I don't, as I've said, they kind of interviews don't get put out for no reason, and I think there's a lot more to it than you think. The Americans will gamble. Americans like that kind of thing. They like razzmatazz. They like Hollywood. Gerrard's a big name. I just think if he came back in at a level, I wouldn't be getting rid of Danny Rowe. If he came in at a level, he could be bringing players in and attract players to the club. I wouldn't be against that, to be fair. See if it's a case of having to bite our nose or whatever you want to call it. We don't really want to be bringing people back that have left, but we don't really want to be finishing second or third in the league. All we want is to start winning trophies again and start the success that I was brought up with. You've missed that. And if Gerrard or anybody else can come back and bring us that, nobody will criticise at the end of the season. And that's why, if I was to pick anybody to come back, it'd be Aribo, because we need somebody like Aribo in the midfield. But Gerrard coming back, I don't think it's a case of we get to pick it. I think it's if the Americans want him, they'll bring him back.
Not really many more comments coming in. I'm just a wee one here. Some good points, Simon. Yep. No good points for me. No, clearly not. And Aldo, Douglas Park moaning about Kevin Thelwell, but I think Park is just as bad. I'm not really going to comment on that because I do think, of course, as you were saying earlier on, Douglas Park a good Rangers man, and I don't fault anyone for putting their 100% into a club, especially the club that they support. Our last comment here from, once again, SNP Gun Platoon. Gerrard couldn't do anything with this law either. I do agree with that. I think
no, but I'm talking about for the future. I'm talking about for the future. If we're going to start bringing players in, and nobody's going to that team we've got to know. We'll be suffering for that team for another year or 2 years. Some of these players.
Stadium expansion. What are we building, lads? Well, it looks as if the corners, especially between the Broomloan and the Govan, will possibly be getting another wee extension on the top of that. That's supposedly a rumour. It's a
great question. However, I think you could do a full show about it. And maybe do that.
I think that's a good
idea. When we'll get nothing else to talk about, fuck all we talk about one day. But there's loads of things. The big thing for me is I'd like to have a standing section back. I was a West Enclosure guy. I'd like to see a standing section back at Ibrox. I would like to see, if possible, a German type fan experience. And I would like to see that. I think football's too dear.
I think in that sense you mean getting a beer in the ground?
No, just everything. It's a whole thing. That football fans are treated like second-class citizens at every club. And when I was a wee boy, I know I'm talking about like it might have been years ago, but see poor families, their kids can't afford to get to see Rangers or any football team, and that really, we have to find a way to stop that. Bigger stadiums where kids can get in for maybe free or cheaper or whatever. Years ago in the 80s, my dad used to sell the Rangers pools, and if you sold so many, you get vouchers and you get a discount. It might sound crazy, but the Rangers should always be a working class club.
I agree.
And who stick by their roots.
And I think in games, say if Rangers aren't doing too well as if like we are now, and there's games where you're sort of maybe struggling to sell tickets, tickets it. Because you're just...
Family, you should have family say. I don't even know if they've got family sessions anymore. I think they have, but it's still, the prices are extraordinary
I mean, the Broomloan kind of used to be known as the sort of family stand, but I think that's kind of faded away now.
I would like the other thing I would like. I don't know who made the point. Is I feel as if the American board or owners they're being influenced to handpick Rangers fans that are giving them advice, and it's guys that are not really want to tell them about the shit show that happens behind the scenes. I mean, for an example, I'm not going to get into it. I've ran about 50 events at Ibrox Stadium, and now I don't run any events in the stadium anymore because of the way I was treated. So they don't want supporters coming in and speaking out and telling them about the problems that they've got. And as long as you've got handpicked fans, it's not going to, the fan experience won't get any better. But I will take my hat off to them and say that what they've done for the disabled section looks to, I know it get criticised at the start, but it looks to have been a great move for the disabled supporters. Maybe not big enough, but it's a start, because I know there's still a section of the support that have to sit in the old area. But credit when due. There's great opportunities for the stadium, what they could do. But never mind the stadium expansion for a minute. Get a railway. The game, the next game that we're playing starts and during the game the subway closes. Get a train station, get a train stop at Ibrox. That'd be a big shout for us. Ease the congestion a wee bit. But expansion, maybe we can do a full show on it.
Yeah, and that with the transport as well, with the railway, I think that's another topic we can have. I was actually discussing with someone who not only drinks in the Bill but has a lot of connections just overall in Cambuslang and with the Rangers. Alan Wadlaw as well, someone I believe you know.
I know Wadley, aye. He used to be the Cambuslang Rangers manager.
Yep.
And goalkeeper, no? I don't know. I think he was.
Yeah, you're right.
Good guy, aye.
Good friend of everyone in the Black Bills.
What was he saying?
What's that?
What was he saying?
I know, he was basically talking about having some discussions with Stuart Robertson previously in the past about railway, and basically, I'm not going to get into it because I could be talking about it for another hour.
But guys like that should have guys that have helped the club in the past. I don't know if he's getting influence anymore, but he's a guy that knows all about Rangers and scouting. Wouldn't it do any harm to have guys like that speaking to the board and people that are just trying to give the best advice for the benefit of the club, the fans, and the future? Because there's so much untapped at Ibrox, and there's so many things that are wrong. I mean, I'm not going to go into this too long, but catering and things like that, you can only buy if you get a card. All guys that don't have cards can't buy and all that crap. A lot of nonsense.
That really came in because of COVID, and that's not really going about anymore. And I don't think you want to necessarily get into COVID.
No, I was never going about in the first place.
No,
I'm not going to get into that garbage. It's just that's a full show we could deal on that. It's a good point, but we would be here all night.
We'll just pass the hour mark. I think it's
that'll do.
We can wrap up. Any sort of shout outs you want to make? I've got a wee one or two.
On you go, you feel free.
Well, of course, my regular shout out to the Black Bill. Once again, great pub, great Rangers pub, right in the heart of Cambuslang in South Lanarkshire, just outside the Glasgow. 10-minute train from Glasgow Central. 8-minute train, 2-minute walk. So it's a 10-minute journey from Glasgow City Centre from Glasgow Central. Another wee shout out I want to make is to, once again, you're probably sick of me talking about this, but it's the Sam H event that I'm hosting on the 27th of June. A wee update today.
Before you do that, tell them what it is, because people might not know what Sam
is. So Sam H, the Scottish Action for Mental Health, a charity that has been running for around 125 years, one of the oldest charities in Scotland and one of the oldest in Britain as well. Sam H do a lot of work all throughout Scotland. They've recently opened up a wee centre in Glasgow City Centre, in the town, just in Merchant City, called the Nook. So it is a place where people can go for any sort of help they need, if they're having problems at home, problems with their work, or just any sort of help that they need, or just a simple chat, they can go there. And Sam H are looking to open up centres in Aberdeen and Edinburgh as well, more nooks. So they're hoping to open up centres all throughout Scotland, and for them to do that, they need my support, they need your support, they need everyone's support.
Cash
in Scotland. They need money. So
what's your update on your
a wee update.
Forget.
No, well, we recently in the Black Belt over the last month or two, we've did a wee sweetie jar in the pub, and it's guess how many sweets are in the jar. The final number was, I believe, 899. I actually didn't know how much it was because it wasn't my idea. It was actually my mum's idea. So she was the one who unfortunately had to sit and count out how many sweets were in the jar. It turned out to be 899.
That's funny because she told me there was 2,000 in it. She's been going, one for me, one for the jar.
That's actually what I've been doing. If you couldn't tell, my belly's getting bigger.
No, fantastic work. Who won it?
Yeah, Stephen Bankier. He's actually a good friend of the Black Bulls. Emma, who used to work with us and is also a good friend of the staff of the Black Bulls and more specifically my mum's. So yeah, we managed to raise £150 with that. And with that, we have managed to raise just over £1,000 for Sam H.
Fantastic.
I actually don't have that money right now. What I have right now is about 800, but 300 of that went towards the pitch hire for the five-a-side tournament. So
Speculate to accumulate.
Even then, still raised a significant amount of money in such a short amount of time. So I want to thank everyone who's contributed, everyone who's gotten involved in helping. I want to thank yourself, Si, for your supporting everyone else for the Gers TV. We're all very proud to be part of this tournament. I believe it's going to be a hit as well. And not only that, we have a wee night on afterwards from 7 o'clock until late in the Wee Rangers Club. And I also want to give a wee quick shout out to Audrey from the Wee Rangers Club as well, who's cooperated with me fantastically. And I've got a wee DJ as well, who's a good friend of mine, Harry Oki, who's today. Also,
we're going to see Harry Hoofter.
No.
I know Harry. He's a good guy.
I gigs in Oswald every second Friday as well. So yeah, just a wee quick shout. I say quick shout out. I've been spending a wee few minutes talking about it.
No, listen, well done. Congratulations for a young man. It's fantastic you're doing that charity work. Continue the Gers TV's charity work as well. We didn't do a Christmas appeal this year. Just far too much on my plate for me to do that. But well done, Lewis, and we're really proud of you. Before I finish, I would just like to wish all our viewers and all the guys that contribute to the Gers TV a Merry Christmas. And if we don't see you next week at any point, please have a Happy New Year as well, wherever you are in the world.
Yep, thank you very much for your support in 2025. And as Si was just saying there, if we don't see us, then have a great Christmas and an even better New Year, hopefully. So thanks very much for all your support in 2025. The channel has grown significantly.
Immensely.
We're doing some great work here in the studios as well. Some great work on camera and off camera as well, which you will all know about in the coming future. So thanks very much for all your support in 2025 and onwards to an even better 2026.
Like, share, and subscribe. And always remember, win, lose or draw, we are a people.
And Merry Christmas.